Drama, more drama, and maybe the most dominant domestic team ever. This past weekend has been one to remember in Valorant. Between another Chet tweet, Scrim sharing drama, and the results of VCT Americas Playoffs, there's a lot to talk about.
That's the first time we have ever seen this.
That's insane.
So let's start off with Chet's tweet, which was posted Friday and seemingly in response to Demon 1 being moved to Leviathan's inactive roster. In that post, he criticized Demon 1's work ethic. Then, when confronted by the player himself, Chet said that he'd heard that Demon 1 had been talking shit about him. Now, while Chet was recently hired as M80's coach after losing his job with NRG in July 2024, he is just as well known for these kinds of inflammatory posts. Angel chimed in that this was a great way to burn all your bridges. Navi's IGL added, "Would you work with a guy who's ready to tweet something like this?" Now, Chet has never been afraid to speak his mind, but it's hard to see what the motivation here is other than just stirring shit up with people. It doesn't really reflect well on Chet, and it seems like the community feels it was a misstep. But that wasn't even the wildest thing that happened this past weekend. That honor goes to this moment before Talon and DRX were set to play in the VCT Pacific Playoffs, when Talon head coach Frost refused to shake Termi's hand, the head coach of DRX.
When they run hot, they're really, really hot. So they want to use what they learned yesterday and bring it up.
Oh my God. Frost is just, nope, he did the nope thing. Oh my goodness. That's the first time we have ever seen this.
That's insane.
DRX went on to eliminate Talon, and journalists inquired about the incident at the after-match press conference for both teams.
I'm not gonna get into the specifics, but if anybody wants to listen to his interviews in the past about me, teaching lessons and, a whole other myriad of stuff, they can. There's real smoke between us. Obviously, it doesn't extend to the players. It has nothing to do with anybody else. This is just a me and him thing that probably will never be resolved, and that's okay. Everyone is surprised because, we've already been through this.
24년의 사건도 있어서 그런 거일 수도 있지만, 제 입으로 여기서 이제 프로스트 감독이 저한테 했던 말을 그대로 하고 싶진 않아요. 근데 일단 욕을 한 건 사실이고 M과 F가 들어간 욕을 했고요. 근데 이게 과연 쇼맨십으로 치기에는 굉장히 좀 선을 많이 넘었다 생각을 하고, 사실 이런 걸로 라이엇이 만약에 징계를 먹이지 않는다면 라이엇 또한 잘못이라고 생각을 하고, 솔직히 미친놈인 것 같긴 한데 퍼시픽에서 좀 살았으면 좋겠고 그냥 지네 나라인 미국으로 빨리 꺼졌으면 좋겠습니다.
So what exactly are these incidents being described by both coaches? Well, 10 months ago, Frost went off about supposed scrim sharing between Korean teams on the Spike Talk podcast with Baby Bay.
How is scrim sharing legal and not in the rule book? How is it legal? How is there a system and a network of cheating and it's legal? And I'm going to keep talking about this bullshit until it changes, because it is crazy that it's legal to literally have a network of people that are working together to scrim share so that your teams have a leg up when you play X teams.
On top of that, Frost has clearly had an issue with Termi for some time, though some said that the potential origin of their beef could be due to a mistranslation. Termi responded after the match too, saying that the insinuations from Frost should be proven, or else Frost should, quote, take full responsibility for fueling these baseless rumors. Now, while Frost hasn't yet done that, former Talon player Governor did say that he saw proof of scrim sharing that was sent to Riot back when he was on the roster, but that Riot, quote, didn't really care and told us they couldn't enforce anything. He also added that he felt it should be enforced as a rule. A later, now deleted tweet from Governor said that the proof wasn't specifically on DRX or Gen G. Another player, Natank, also chimed in. In a now deleted quote tweet of the handshake incident, he said that Talon had proof of DRX scrim sharing. He deleted it because he said he personally hadn't seen proof that DRX specifically was involved in scrim sharing. Now, whether this proof exists is still unclear, as it hasn't been posted. Frost course, past accusations have cast aspersions on the whole region, and players talking generally about it before clarifying about DRX seem to suggest that the issue is still tense. Now, if scrim sharing truly is a widespread issue, then of course it's on Riot to actually start to do something about it. Teams need to be able to count on the confidentiality of these games in order to try new things and test strategies. And if these practice games are not privileged information because Riot Games is unwilling to do anything to enforce that, the game's teams will necessarily handle them much differently than they are now. Now, while this situation has everyone talking about scrim sharing again, including Termi after the match, others caution that the two coaches have an interpersonal problem that caused this.
Each of them have instances of feeling the other disrespected them, and now it's gone too far. This has become an ego fight.
Now, beyond these developments with both Chet and these two coaches, there were still actual games played last weekend at VCT Americas Playoffs. The major takeaway, G2 Esports are impossible to count out. After losing their first playoff game against Sentinels 2-1, G2 ran the entire lower bracket to get back to the grand final, where Sens were waiting yet again.
Divided away from it and spammed and stuck away! Sen dropping like flies! And for G2, in all eyes, into the hands of Trent, and he delivers them that back-to-back trophy!
Their tournament win means that they win this stage and qualify for Masters Toronto, plus this victory means that when they take the stage there, they'll be seeded directly into playoffs, skipping the Swiss stage entirely. And counting their kickoff win, G2 have won back-to-back domestic trophies. It's fair to wonder whether this is the most dominant domestic team the game has ever seen. They have been to 4 consecutive VCT Americas Grand Finals and won 2 of those in a row. They'll need that momentum if they want to win Masters Toronto and avenge their second place finish at Masters Bangkok. They're already in the conversation for one of the world's best teams, but the win gives G2 another advantage too. With Toronto set to be played on the Taeho nerf patch, they can just kick back and watch the teams in the Swiss stage figure out the meta. But we can't help ourselves here. We have to talk about G2's series against EG because they will miss Toronto due to the loss after nearly pulling off a miracle. It's not all bad news for EG faithful though, because El Diablo was just burning down the server and really looked to be in great form. What is somewhat unfortunate though is that if you're an EG fan, you'll probably be seeing this clip of Ye in your nightmares for the next little while.
Trying to dominate the map, Ye! On his perch, on his high ground position, EG were not to be moved from that feign, from the fake itself in the clubbers itself, but a mistake is made and wrapping his ray all the way from behind! G2 laying claim and laying siege all the way to the site! There's no stopping this train right now!
By deciding to try to stop the plant by himself, Ye helps turn this 4v2 into a disaster. Having said that, Ye's performance at this tournament is one of the only reasons that EG was even in this position to begin with, and they almost pulled it off. It's not like everyone played perfectly the whole time and then El Diablo ruined it. They were under pressure and just barely fell short here on Pearl. But it's still a promising sign both for Ye and for EG. We'll see you in the next one. Yeah, I ran a marathon. Still feeling very sore today. Still struggling to get up and down the stairs. Yeah, and stupidly I've signed up for another one later in the year. Not sure whose idea that was.